You are dead weight, Hiroto. A weakling staying on this ship. Toss him over.
A flash of steel. Then Hiroto's body tumbled over the rail, the jeers of the crew shredding the salty wind. He slammed into black sand, every bone shrieking, the ship's laughter already a distant echo across the water.
Curse them? Number. Not yet. I won't become the weakling they called me.
The mist thickened, and from its heart a creature not of this world emerged, nine tails fanning out like a ghostly aurora.
You refuse to curse your betrayers. Interesting. Perhaps you deserve a second chance.
Hiroto stared at the fruit, its clock hands ticking soundlessly, promising a power that felt both salvation and trap.
This fruit binds you to the island's time. Eat it, and you will loop until you master what you lack.
What's the price? Nothing in this world comes free.
The fruit's glow seeped into his palm, binding him to the island's eternal dusk. The deal was struck without a word. Hiroto sank his teeth into the glowing fruit, and time itself shuddered, a cold, metallic taste flooding his veins. The forest claimed him first. A stake through the chest, so fast he didn't scream. Death was instant, then void.
I died, but here I am again. The loop, already turning. 70 years of dying to carve myself into a weapon. I accept.
He died 100 ways, drowning, beast claws, poison thorns. Each death a reset, each reset a scar on his mind.
Each death is a lesson. Only by mastering your body and this island's secrets can you ever leave.
In a clearing, he sat in stillness. Translucent echoes of his past deaths layered around him, overlapping like ghosts of memory.
I will learn from every mistake. Time is my weapon now.
Good. The fruit's true trial begins now. Survive the decades, and the world outside will be yours to reshape.
So began the 70-year sentence on the island of lost hours, measured in countless deaths and dawns that never came.
Close your eyes, Hiroto. Let my centuries of combat flow into your limbs. You will forget pain and only remember motion.
Decades compressed into days. Hiroto shattered boulders with kicks that echoed across timelines, his body a blur of borrowed experience.
Each strike feels like a memory not my own, yet perfectly mine.
At the island's edge, he touched the temporal barrier and glimpsed the outside, a frozen slice of sea, the shadow of a familiar galleon.
Only 3 days outside while I've aged decades. The crew won't recognize me. Good. Captain Ryuki. Tamo. Rin. Your laughter will choke when I return.
You are nearly ready. But remember, the fruit demands your all. Leave only when you can walk through death unshaken.
He tested himself one final time, a loop where he didn't die for a full year. The island was no longer a prison. It was a crucible shaped to his will.
Yuri, I am leaving now. The outside world has waited 3 days, but I've waited 70 years.
The temporal barrier rippled one last time, and Hiroto stepped through, a boy who had died 1,000 times, reborn as a phantom of retribution. The mainland's rain tasted like iron. Hiroto stepped off a rotted skiff, gray cloak swallowing his frame, the dock officials ignoring him as just another vagrant.
3 days. The world spins on, blind to the 70 years I've carved into my bones.
He moved through the port like a shadow, his crimson eyes hidden beneath the hood, searching for a thread he'd traced from the island's edge. Kaori. In a rot-smelling alley, Kaori stood with a broken broom against 3 thugs, her knuckles white, voice steady despite the bruises on her cheek.
Touch me again, and I'll put a splinter through your eye. I am still engaged to that crew, remember?
A gray blur dropped from above. 2 thugs crumpled. Then a clock face glow flared, freezing the third in terror.
Run, or join them on the ground. Kaori, it's me, Hiroto.
Hiroto? They said you were dead. How?
She searched his crimson eyes, finding a truth too heavy to question. A slight nod sealed their pact. Under a blood-red moon, Hiroto and Kaori mapped the first den, a salt warehouse on the eastern dock, crawling with House Asahi's rats.
They move salt for gunpowder. If we hit here, we cut their eastern supply line by half.
70 years of dying have taught me to move like silence. These guards won't even feel the night change.
2 guards crumpled without a whisper. Inside the warehouse, crates of salt masked the scent of fear and a hidden ledger.
Kaori, look at this. Every shipment coded for delivery to someone called the Elder, not Ryuki.
I found a low-rank sailor cowering behind the salt piles. He babbled something about the captain and a mutiny. He said the crew barely sees Ryuki anymore. Since the mutiny, the captain's orders come through an old lady, the Elder.
Mutiny. So he wasn't always a monster. Someone else is pulling his strings.
Hiroto, this isn't just revenge anymore. We need to know who the Elder is before we move.
The ledger crackled as he closed it. The ghost of a mutiny had become a doorway, and through it, a figure called the Elder waited. Hiroto's clock face flared in the smoky tavern corner, the air around Tamo's throat solidifying before the man could scream.
Tamo, remember me?
Hiroto, but we threw you overboard. You are a ghost.
Ghost or not, you'll tell me everything. Who is the Elder the crew serves? The old lady behind the mutiny.
Please. I've never seen her. She only speaks through the captain. We just follow orders.
Orders from a shadow. Ryuki isn't the captain anymore. He's a puppet wearing a crown.
He's telling the truth. Rin was at the last den with him. She might know more.
Where is she?
Abandoned shipyard, 2 miles east, hiding in the hull of an old cutter. I'll draw a map.
Tamo sobbed into the stale floorboards, his bravado drowned in terror. Hiroto's resolve hardened. Rin would be sharper, but sharpness breaks under enough pressure. The abandoned shipyard creaked under a moonless sky. Hiroto and Kaori slipped through wrecks toward the old cutter where Rin cowered. Inside the hull, Rin pressed against rotting timber, a rusted knife quivering in her grip.
Stay back. I know what you are. Hiroto's ghost. Come to drag me under.
I am no ghost, Rin. But I'll become one if you don't tell me about the old lady.
It started after they marooned you, the captain. He broke. Drinking, muttering about the island's fruit. He said the fruit's price was too high, that only a true heir could survive it. We thought he'd gone mad, but the Elder, the old lady, she's his mother, the matriarch of House Asahi. She never shows her face, but her orders are law.
Grandmother Asahi. She's the Elder. Her voice made Ryuki throw me away.
Your own blood. She's been the true captain all along. What do we do now?
The name hung in the stale air like a curse. Hiroto's cutlass arm twitched. The galleon could wait no longer. The final smuggling den burned against the pre-dawn sky. Hiroto stood among the ashes, the clock face on his palm still ticking, pinned to a charred crate, a message written in the captain's hand. The matriarch will have your head, Phantom.
Then she'll know whose head she's hunting.
Your hair ribbon. You want Ryuki to know it's you.
By noon, Ryuki unrolled a scrap of parchment in his dim cabin. A single black ribbon fluttered out, and his breath caught.
Only Hiroto would know that ribbon. The boy survived the island, or something wearing his face.
We have to warn you, the matriarch. She hasn't aged in 30 years. Not a single wrinkle.
Her voice makes your bones rattle. When she speaks, Captain Ryuki's just a hollow shell.
Not human. So my 70 years were meant to kill something immortal. I am the payment for the fruit.
The clock face on his palm burned cold. The raid on the galleon could no longer be postponed. Hiroto sifted the ashes of the burned smuggler's den until his fingers struck metal. A rusted tin, still warm from the flames. Inside, a leather journal bore the captain's seal. The pages opened to frantic script. Island of lost hours. Year of our despair. Day 47. The fox spirit showed me the hollow one, a parasite wearing my mother's face. It will consume all unless a vessel is forged.
Ryuki knew. He stood on that same beach, spoke to the same spirit. He was broken long before me.
Only a child of our blood can survive the fruit. I must prepare a vessel, raise a weapon, even if he hates me.
He marooned me deliberately. Every insult, every cruelty, was to shape me into this.
A later entry, ink blotted with what looked like dried tears. He must hate me enough to kill. Forgive me, Hiroto.
All this time, I wanted revenge on a man who was already dead inside, fighting a war I never knew existed.
The weight of 70 years of rage tilted strangely. The real enemy wore his grandmother's skin. The journal snapped shut. Revenge was no longer a simple blade. It was a question Hiroto never thought he'd ask. Who truly needed saving? Hiroto pushed into the hideout. The captain's journal clutched like a blood-stained relic. Kaori paused, her blade sharpening, reading his face.
Ryuki's journal. He knew about the hollow one, called it a parasite wearing my grandmother's skin. He threw me away to forge a weapon.
This date, the family voyage where your parents died. After that, the captain became cold, distant. The timeline matches.
I remember. Grandmother's warmth vanished that same year. Her eyes, like empty mirrors. Something else was already inside.
She was possessed on that trip. The Hollow One has been using her to control the crew, and Ryuki's been fighting it alone for years.
Then, this isn't revenge. It's cutting the rot from my own family. We capture Ryuki alive. He owes me the truth.
Alive? He's still under her control. We need a plan. Separate him from the matriarch without killing him.
They bent over a crude map of the galleon's decks. Hiroto's finger traced a path to the captain's quarters, then circled the matriarch's suite.
The journal said, "Forgive me." I am not ready to forgive, but I'll make sure he lives long enough to explain.
The clock face on his palm burned steady now. The raid was no longer execution, it was rescue. But the ache in his chest only sharpened. Thunder swallowed the night. Hiroto's palms clawed into the rain-slick hull, the clock face dimming as he froze time in 10-second bursts.
Keep behind him. His hand glows and the guards freeze like statues. This is not human power.
A patrolling crewman never saw the shadow that pressed a palm to his neck. He crumpled without a whisper. Below deck, the timbers groaned, and through the ship's belly, two voices twisted around each other, one ancient, one hollowed.
The boy escaped the island. Find him, Ryuki. Bring him to me alive, or I'll wear your first mate's skin next.
As you command, Mother.
That's his voice, but it's not his will. She's inside his head, just like the journal said.
He's just a puppet. If we strike her first, he might snap free.
Not yet. I need truth from his own lips. Get to the lifeboats. I'll cut the strings myself.
The ship's timbers shivered, as if the Hollow One itself sensed the blade now creeping toward its throat. The captain's cabin door swung open without resistance, a trap that wasn't one.
I've returned, Captain. Did you think the sea would swallow your mistakes?
Ryuki sat at his desk, back turned, smoke curling from his pipe. His shoulders did not tense.
You are late, Hiroto. She's already awake.
He isn't reaching for a weapon. No guards. What game is this? Why aren't you fighting me? You threw me away like garbage. Draw your sword.
Because I've waited 3 days for this. For you to put that blade through my heart.
Hiroto's cutlass stopped a whisper from Ryuki's throat. The clock face pulsed, but the captain's eyes held no hate.
He wants me to kill him. This isn't submission, it's a dare. But why?
For the first time in 70 years, Hiroto's blade hand hesitated, and in the stillness, a faint light flickered on Ryuki's wrist.
You see it. The same mark you carry. A clock face. Faded and broken.
His mark, it's older. More broken. He wasn't just on the island. He was bound by the same fruit.
30 years ago, I ate the fruit. But I was too afraid. I escaped after only a decade. The fruit's full power never took.
Ryuki held his wrist like a dying candle. The captain's voice grew hoarse with old shame.
My weakness let the Hollow One in. It took my mother, wore her skin. I've spent 30 years trying to stop it, but you survived the full 70 years. Only a completed loop fruit can kill the entity without being consumed.
He threw me away, not because I was weak, but because I was the only one who could be strong enough.
The blade in Hiroto's hand felt suddenly heavy. No longer a tool of revenge, but a weight of a family's curse.
I became a monster, to kill a monster. Was there no other way?
Ryuki fell silent, the answer hanging like the smoke. Hiroto's cutlass now pointed away, but the true battle loomed ahead. A sudden spasm racked Ryuki's frame. He doubled over, clutching his chest, the cracked clock face on his wrist, flickering like a dying ember.
She's draining me, Hiroto. The Hollow One feeds on my life to keep itself whole.
Hiroto watched, stunned, as the captain's beard turned white strand by strand by strand, his broad shoulders shrinking.
You must kill the thing inside her, before it spreads, before it wears you too.
This isn't a request, it's his final command. The man who raised me is dissolving in front of my eyes.
Ryuki's body collapsed further, his spine curling like a withered branch. The clock face on his wrist guttered.
30 years of guilt. Just end it. Save her soul if you can.
Hiroto knelt, catching Ryuki's hand. The touch sent a shiver of shared temporal energy through them both.
I'll stop it, but you don't get to die yet. Not until I've had my answers.
Ryuki's breathing shallowed but did not stop. Hiroto rose, clock face blazing, and turned toward the matriarch's suite. The matriarch's suite was draped in shadow and the scent of old incense. Asahi sat still as a carved idol, her eyes black pools.
You've come to kill your own flesh and blood. How predictable.
Her voice shifted. A second, far older tone, slithering beneath her words like a serpent under silk.
This vessel has waited decades for a completed loop fruit. Your body will let me escape this island's reach forever.
The fruit isn't just a weapon. It's bait. She wants to wear me like a new skin.
Black tendrils coiled up from the floorboards, licking the air like hungry tongues. The room grew thick with ancient malice.
Surrender, boy, and I'll let your captain live. Resist, and I'll wear your face while you scream inside.
You'll wear nothing but the end of my blade.
Hiroto's cutlass blazed with borrowed time as he lunged. The tendrils met the blade in a burst of crackling paradox. The Hollow One cackled, its voice splitting into a choir of agony. The battle for House Asahi's soul had begun. Hiroto triggered micro-loops, ducking, vanishing, reappearing a breath to the left, each dodge a 2-second dance with death.
Every loop feeds her. She drinks the wasted time like wine. I can't outlast her. I have to drown her in it.
The tendrils thickened, seeking not just flesh, but the clock face itself. The Hollow One shrieked with hunger.
A paradox overload. If I force every loop I've lived into her at once, the temporal flood will tear her apart. But my memories, my years.
The door behind him splintered. Kaori stood in the frame, a pistol raised, her face pale.
Kaori, stay back. She'll wear you like a glove. Get away from here.
A tendril lashed toward Kaori. Hiroto threw himself between them, the clock face flaring a desperate ward.
No more time to think. I'll pour all 70 years into her throat and let her choke.
He planted his feet and threw his arms wide, inviting every tendril. The clock face screamed with light. Kaori screamed his name as the darkness swallowed him whole, and the clock began to howl. Inside the shadow cocoon, Hiroto's timeline snapped like a bowstring. He poured every death, every victory into the Hollow One's maw.
What is this? The loop. It's infinite. You'll tear the fabric.
The ancient voice cracked with fear. Hiroto's clock face no longer ticked. It hummed a single, endless note. Asahi's body arched, skin splitting with golden light. The Hollow One screamed through her lips, a sound beyond human.
The first sunrise. The fox's face. Her name. Fading.
The paradox roared. Decades of training dissolved into the flood, weaponized against its maker.
Hiroto, my boy, forgive me. End this.
I am sorry, grandmother. I am ending all of it.
The ship listed violently as a temporal pulse splintered the masts above. Hiroto collapsed to one knee, the clock face on his palm now a ragged scar. The Hollow One's shriek had become a fading whimper. A ragged mass of black smoke tore free from Asahi's frame, tendrils flailing for the shattered window. A cornered parasite seeking escape. Hiroto forced himself upright, the scar on his palm searing. Through the blur of memory loss, one image remained, Ryuki on his knees, begging.
Not yet. You don't escape.
With a raw cry, he lunged, the cutlass igniting with the final embers of 70 years, and drove the blade into the heart of the black smoke. The entity's shriek became 1,000 splintering voices as golden cracks raced through the smoke, and it burst into a silent, blinding glare. Asahi's body crumpled to the floor, the dark energy gone. For a breath, her eyes were clear, gray and human and full of sorrow.
Thank you, my boy. You freed us both.
Her eyes closed, and the last matriarch of House Asahi went still. No villain, no victim, just a grandmother who had been a prison. The cutlass clattered to the floor, its light extinguished. Hiroto sank to his hands, the clock-face scar now a mere white mark. The Hollow One was no more, but the silence it left behind felt like a wound of its own. Hiroto staggered through the tilting passage, the hull's groans echoing his hollow footsteps.
Did you save her? My mother's soul, is it freed?
She's free. Asahi died as herself, not the Hollow One.
Ryuki's cracked lips curved into a weak smile. His hand slipped from Hiroto's grasp, falling limp to the floor.
Hiroto, the ship's coming apart. We have to go.
She crossed to him and gently pulled his hand. Hiroto rose, hollow but not alone. They reached the deck as the galleon pitched. A lifeboat dangled by one rope. Kaori cut it loose and they scrambled aboard. The galleon's masts shattered against the waves. Flames licked the rigging, but Hiroto only stared.
It's over. You are not alone anymore.
The sea swallowed House, Asahi's ship, with a final, boiling sigh. Dawn began to break in the east. Dawn bled across the waves as the last timber of the galleon surrendered to the deep. Hiroto watched until there was nothing left.
His palm ached. The clock-face scar was a pale ghost now, no longer ticking.
The fruit's loop memories dimmed, 1,000 deaths, 1,000 dawns. Now just impressions like a half-forgotten lullaby.
He couldn't picture Yuri's eyes, but he remembered the feeling of her hand on his shoulder.
The mark's gone. Is it really over?
The fruit's price is paid. What I made of it, that stays.
Kaori shifted closer, her warmth a quiet answer to the void left behind.
No more loops, no more rehearsals. Just this one life, fragile and fierce.
The current tugged them gently toward the port, its lanterns winking awake in the morning haze. Hiroto exhaled, a breath that carried 70 years of shrapnel, and, for the first time, no wait, the rowboat knocked gently against the jetty. Hiroto's boots met solid stone for the first time in what felt like a century.
What will you do now, Hiroto?
Start a crew. A real one. No more hollow families.
Kaori's tired face broke into a small, knowing smile. Ahead, two figures waited at the pier's end. Temo and Rin, their heads bowed, exhaustion and shame carved into their frames.
We don't have the right to ask, but if you'd have us, Captain, we'll follow.
The old Hiroto would have spat at them. But the boy who drowned 70 years ago wasn't here anymore.
Hiroto nodded once. No words, just a slight incline of his head that spoke of a future still being written. He walked past them onto the rebuilt pier, his back straight but no longer rigid. Kaori fell into step beside him. The port was waking. Their footsteps, 4 sets now, fell into a slow, tentative rhythm against the rising tide. On a mist-veiled hill above the port, 9 translucent tails stirred the fog. Yuri watched the tiny figures below with ancient golden eyes.
The fruit has returned to the island's heart. But the boy who survived it, that is a story the sea will carry.
She faded into the morning haze, her duty fulfilled. The island, for now, slept. A modest schooner cut the harbor waters, its sail snapping taut with the morning wind. At the helm, Hiroto stood easy, his hands light on the wheel. Kaori leaned on the rail beside him, watching the horizon.
No loop, no reset, just this wind and the unknown.
Tamo hauled a line, Rin adjusted the jib. Their movements were still hesitant, but together, Kaori's hand found his atop the wheel, a quiet anchor. The ship carved a silver line toward the sunrise, leaving the island's shadow far behind. The boy who had drowned 1,000 times had finally learned to sail.